morning. It is Monday morning, and I have to wake myself up because I thought I had this theory last night. Go to bed a little earlier, and you'll feel all chipper in the morning. So I did. Went to bed at 9:50. Went to sleep about 10 after 11. Woke up at 12:20, woke up at 2:06, woke up at 3:14, and are y'all getting the drift? So Bill Siniard's here today so he can smack me every time I start to go to sleep. Bill's going to slap my little fat jaws.
I'd never do such a thing.
No. And you brought Dr. Ralph back. We'll just call him Dr. Ralph. You know how they had Dr. Stanley? We got Dr. Ralph.
That'll work.
That'll work. We're going to talk a little bit about the Bible. We're going to talk a little bit about the economy. We're going to talk a little bit about the things we can do to help each other. And on the way up here today, I was listening to something that just, I can remember when we first started doing Heart of the Home here. It was little segments, and I started going to schools and talking to kids. And this was a long time ago. And then my daughter Dawn and I went to school and talked to kids about making meth. And we walked in with the ingredients. And I think we chose, that one was a junior high class, like 7th grade, something like that. But then we went down to a grade that was 4th grade. Do y'all know that we walked in, set the ingredients on the table, and kids said, "Are you going to make meth?" before we said a word about what we were going to do.
Oh,
that's scary.
yes.
Well, that was years ago, y'all. And if you think that we were in trouble then with drugs, we're really in trouble now with drugs. Thank you for opening the border and letting all the drug cartels send all the fentanyl they could get on buses to the United States of America.
Don't get us started on that.
107,000 people last year died from fentanyl. 107,000 people. Well, I'm telling you, we thought meth was bad. And meth was like, they called it the hillbilly drug because it was truly cheap to make. And And you've heard Dawn read that poem, My Name is Crystal Meth, where you do it one time and then it attacks your body and you can't live without it, you think. And now this fentanyl, you don't get to do it twice, because when you do it, you're one of those DOAs in the morgue. We're in trouble. We are in so much trouble. Why were you not standing down there at the border with a gun telling them to get back where they came from?
I was at the other border. I was at Niagara Falls.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. We're in trouble, guys. I'm so scared. I'm raising, we got this little great grandbabies. We got Riker, we got Xana. You got all these grandbabies. They are growing up in a world that I am so afraid of. I'm so afraid of it. Because you think about a kid, a 5th grader sitting on a school bus with a kid, and maybe this kid's parents are on drugs, and maybe he finds something in the house and he brings it to the school bus. And then all the kids on the bus are affected by that.
Yeah, President Biden's got a lot of blood on his hands.
A lot of blood on his hands. A lot of blood on his hands.
Well, the best we can do as Christians is pray that God will protect our children. And we always have known for years and for centuries that the world is bad. It's getting progressively worse.
I never saw it happening. I never saw this
But
happen.
we have to trust the Lord to provide for us. And you can't, I said in a sermon yesterday, is don't sweat the small stuff.
Right.
And that's what we have to do, is you can't let it get you, because that's what the devil wants.
Yeah. I think when I realized how many people I know have lost children to drugs, and these weren't, I mean, these were people who their kids were working, or their kids were in college, or their kids, these weren't bums sitting around doing nothing. These were productive people in American society who happened to end up somewhere, wrong place, wrong time. Somebody gave them something, wrong crowd. And you know how many times did your mama say, you're known by the company you keep?
It's true. It's true.
You're known by the company. Okay, if you're keeping company with a bunch of football players and you've gone to a ball game and then you went out drinking and then somebody said, hey, I've got this stuff, let's try it. And you're dead.
Hey, think about it, Ralph. You and I are known today by the company we're keeping.
Yeah, so you're known as a conservative, crazy Christian.
I just had to.
Does that make sense?
That was good.
Are we conservative, crazy
Yes,
Christians?
yes,
Yeah. We are, and it's because Am I the oldest out of all of us? Probably.
I'm 76.
Oh no, you're older than me. Okay. I love when somebody's older than me. I'm excited. Bring it back. Anybody that's older than me can come back. But you know, I look at life very differently after that fall. And see, y'all, doesn't my eye look better? I got lots of makeup on today, but it's just, I'm so excited.
Cherie Stay Makeup.
Cherie Stay Makeup that Bill dubbed many, many years ago. I know 2 people who had falls within 90 days. Their kids were walking behind caskets. I'm so blessed. So I am assuming that every single day is truly a gift from God. Because when I hit, number one, it did knock my teeth out. Thank you, Jesus, because I'm not a big fan of going to the dentist. and I, so far, I still have one place that's about this big. That's a blood clot, not a blood. What do they call it? A hematoma. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I hope all that goes away. But these 2 people, one of them was buried Saturday, and she fell and just twisted her ankle, and it all set up all these problems. Well, I fell and just flattened my face, and so far so good.
Well, the moral of that story for me is this: you're blessed to be hard-headed.
Yes, I am. That's right. That's right. My mama would have said, I felt bad for that porch when you hit it because you're so hard-headed. So. But every day truly is a gift, and every day is a day we can do something for somebody else.
True.
We can do something for somebody else. I guarantee you know somebody that you could bless today. You know somebody you could bless today. We all have the ability to be a blessing instead of a curse. And I did this yesterday. I did something mean, and let me see if I can find it. It was kind of, it was kind of funny because I thought, I have this friend in Alabama that is the most precious human. Bonnie Lacey, I love you beyond the moon and back. She is absolutely precious, and her mama loved me to death. And this woman used to cook for me all the time, and she would make me these amazing cookies, and she would bring them to me in Center, Alabama, which is about 20-something miles from the line. Oh, by the time I crossed the Alabama line, I'd eaten all them cookies. They were so good. But it's so nice to do things for other people. And I was reading something last night, and I was thinking about baby Xana and how precious she is to me, and how much I love her, and what a gift. And she is, not everybody knows the story of her becoming our child, but she is the most precious thing in the world, and Ansley is the best mama ever. She's just so sweet. Okay, this is what I wrote, and this is me, y'all. My mama would love this. Be that girl who roots for the other girl, tells a stranger her hair looks good, her hair looks amazing, and encourages other women to believe in themselves and their dreams. And we should all do that. We should encourage each other. And then the day went on, and I thought about this, and I thought, well, I need to add a little something to this. Honesty is the best policy. There are 2 girls I won't ever root for. Just being honest. Kept all the smart mouth things that they ever said in my memory bank. So every once in a while, there's somebody that you can't root for, but just say, bless their heart.
Yeah.
Bless their heart. You know?
Pray for them, yeah.
But try to encourage people. I met these guys Saturday, knew nothing about their past or anything, but just 2 gentlemen walked up to me, and I had on my Chevelle shirt that has the SS 396 on the back. And the guy said, hey, do you know where there are any car shows? And I said, yeah, actually I do. I said, this is to raise money for Nicholas DeLuca, who has been fighting cancer since he was a little bitty boy, and I was explaining it all to him. And in the conversation, I found that both of them are military vets struggling with drug addiction, and they're in a program in Ball Ground. And I thought, now they have gone to a foreign land, and they have given anything they could to protect me and you and us, and they didn't ask us did we want them to go. But they got there, and they didn't get the support of the United States that we used to once get in the military. And they came back, and last week, one of their friends, who was in the same treatment facility with them, was shot and killed when he went into a hospital with a knife, and the policeman had to shoot him. It was basically suicide by policeman because he was battling drugs and he just couldn't, you know. Mm-hmm. So we don't know who we're going to meet on the street every single day. And you could meet a little lady today who maybe spent her last $3 on groceries this week. Yep. And doesn't know where the next meal is coming from. She looks like she's got it all together, and she looks pretty cool. But you never know. We don't know. But I think that God does place us here to do good for others, to do well for yourself, do good for others, and just those people that have rubbed you the wrong way, just kind of let them sit over here and slide. But these gentlemen, when I met them, I thought, how sad is that?
Mm-hmm.
How sad is that?
Can
Military career,
Yeah.
and they end up in terrible shape.
Now, Mr. Barker here, he wanted to come on again, and I asked him, I said, what's going to be your topic today? And he said, how about Bible translations? And so I said, that'll be an interesting topic. Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
So he brought some materials with him today.
And are you talking about from King James to, what are you talking?
Well, talking about right now, nobody knows how many English translations there actually are. They're saying somewhere between 450 and 900 in English. I got about 660 on my phone. So it's not an easy thing. Have you ever been to the cereal aisle and tried to pick out a particular cereal that has certain things in it?
Yeah, I did yesterday. I bought 2 different kinds of Cheerios.
Okay.
Because I liked this one, but this one was better for you. Isn't that crazy?
Well, but look at
Yeah, I chose
it's
this
like a
one
mile
because
long.
I liked what was in it.
Yeah.
This one was better for me, but I
Yeah.
got both of them.
But it's a task if you're on a diet and you have to
Yeah.
have just so much sugar, so much this, and it's overwhelming. But you go to a Bible store and look at the Bibles, that's overwhelming. I was down at Books A Million one day, and this lady was just sitting there. I could tell she was perplexed. I mean, she was looking at it, just, you know. So I went down and I said, "Can I help you? I know a little bit about Bibles." And she said, "Well, I'm getting married. I'm a Baptist, and I'm marrying a Catholic." And of course, I'm thinking in my mind, that's not a good mix.
But it will work. My aunt and uncle were married 50-something years. He was a Catholic. She was a backwoods Baptist.
Wow. Okay.
It depends on how strong they are in their
Yeah.
faith.
Yes,
But
yes.
anyway, we talked about what she wanted, so I recommended the New Living Translation, something easy to read that she could understand, not a lot of big words and that kind of thing. So I helped her do that. But that's a challenge, though, to find one that will work for you.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is the best Bible for you is the one you will actually read. That's the key to the whole thing.
You will laugh at
That's
this
true.
one. My best friend just bought me a new Bible because I said I'm really having trouble looking at small words, so she bought me the big letter Bibles.
Yeah.
It works for her.
This is a brand new one come out. This is the Pirate's Bible.
Oh.
And you open it up and it's like, arg. It has all
That's
the pirate.
little words.
It's got calligraphy,
I know.
calligraphy writing too.
Oh,
so.
I could never read that one.
No.
You'll have to keep that one, boy. Oh, wow. I can barely see
It's
those.
kind of a joke. I mean, but it's
Yeah.
written in pirate language.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it is a translation. This is what's unique about this one. This was written totally by AI
Wow.
and algorithms. So this is not, and it was based on the King James.
That's funny that you said that because we're going to show something in a few minutes. And I asked Trace, I said, this sounds like AI to me. What do you think? And he said, I don't know. So when y'all listen and hear it, I want you to give me your take on whether it is or not.
Yeah, also about the King James. This is the English Bibles starting in 1526 with the Tyndale Bible. So after Tyndale, you had the Coverdale, the Great Bible, Geneva Bible, the Bishop's Bible, and the King James Bible. The difference between the Tyndale Bible and the King James Bible is about 10%. So you really just modified the Tyndale Bible. And the King James, of course, became one of the most famous Bibles in the world.
The standard.
Yeah,
That's
standard,
true.
yeah. Back in the 50s
Mine is
and
the
60s.
King James with big letters. I'm so proud of those big letters.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
God created.
Page 2.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So as long as it works for you. But
Yeah.
the King James is the most beautifully written Bible, no question. There are a lot of things in there, though, that are not accurate, obviously, from the Greek. There's one, I can't remember where this was. I remember where it says, this is the exact words, concerning the works of my hands, command ye me. Well, all the other translations don't say, you don't tell God what to do.
Yeah,
That's not what it's
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
So you have some problems in there. I had a friend of mine who was trying to convince me that Shakespeare wrote the whole thing.
Oh boy.
But no,
Wow.
well, this is funny though.
That's
And
weird.
when he was 46, during the time of the writing of the King James Bible, if you go to Psalm 46 and you count 46 words down, the first word, the 46th word will be shake. And if you come from the rear and do the same thing, it'll be spear.
Wow.
Shakespeare. Now, that's
Wow.
not true in any other Bible.
That's crazy.
So whether he wrote that or not,
That's
I
crazy.
don't know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, now you'll have people that will argue that there is no errors in the King James Bible. And
Yeah.
what you're saying, though, is it's the translation part of like you were talking to me earlier about the Greek has different meanings of love, the word
Yes.
love, which
Yeah.
is true. But the King James will just specifically say love, and it could be agape, it could be the other words.
Well, the classic ones when Jesus asked Peter, "Do you love me?"
Yeah.
And he's saying, Jesus is saying, "Peter, do you agape love me?" And he says, "Lord, you know I phileo love you." And then he says that twice. And finally, the third time, Jesus comes down to his level and says, "Do you phileo love me?" "Yes, Lord, I phileo love you." But we miss all that in English because it just says love, 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 love. So there's 4 words for love in Greek, and that's eros, phileo, agape, and storge. So we miss a lot because
get
we
that?
don't know
I
Greek.
did.
Yeah.
I remember somebody who came on here years and years ago, and he owned Agape Eye Care. Do you remember him? Yeah.
I've heard of that place,
Yeah. I thought it was interesting.
But
so.
there's 3 or 4 basic types of Bibles. One is the formal equivalence. That's the word for word translation. That's like the New American Standard, the ESV, the King James, New King James. Then you got your dynamics, which are thought for thought. That'd be the New Living Translation, NIV, and CEV, and a bunch of the others that are thought for thought. And then they got the optimum equivalence, which the Christian Standard Bible says they have, which means when they can, they're literal, and when they can't, they become dynamic. Sometimes the Greek gets complicated, and to translate, you have to go more dynamic as opposed to literal. It becomes hard to do. So those are the 3 basic types. No one is better than the other. It's just what works for you.
Yeah.
So which one do you default to?
Well, I'm probably fall more in the scholarly realm, and scholars will use the New American Standard, the ESV, and the Presbyterians, the New Revised Standard. So they're more literal translations. I say as a second Bible, I would recommend everybody get the Net Bible. And what's different about this is a new translation, but what makes it different than other study Bibles, this has 60,932 translator notes. Why is this translated this way? See, you can learn a lot about translations.
Now that's the Bible that the
Look at
disciples.
those little words on
Oh, I
it,
know.
and you can read that.
Yeah, I can see these
That's
real
the-
well.
Yeah. I'm like, holy cow.
That's the Bible that the disciples used because they were fishermen. They used nets.
Yes, that's
That's the
right.
net
That's
Bible.
right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
so there's a lot to it.
Do you have a Bible from your family that's an old Bible?
I got one that my grandmother gave me on my 8th birthday. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. When we were doing an estate sale at the Thomas Estate, I've never seen so many Bibles in my life. But I would venture to guess, out of all the Bibles, people would say, "How much is this Bible? How much?" I said, "It's not for sale, but I'll give it to you." And I gave away. I think they were all King James. I would bet money on it. That's our standard. That's what we always had and what we grew up with. And so many of hers, I actually have one of hers, and it was, she had it in 1951, which happens to be a very special year because it's the year I came to be. So I kept that one after I gave away probably 50 Bibles, but it was very strange because in different rooms I would find more Bibles, but they were always, and they would have notes in it, and she would circle stuff, And I thought, if you had your Bible from 1951 or 1948 or all the Bibles she had, why did she continue to buy Bibles? And I just thought that was, and maybe people gave them to her as gifts. That might be the thing.
Well, I was telling Ralph on the way in here this morning when we got here, I probably got 20 or 24 Gideon New Testaments. I never turned them down. Every time a Gideon would try to give me one, I'll take that.
I'll take it,
because you can always give it to somebody else.
Sure.
That's
sure.
a good one to do. Also, another thing that a lot of people may not be aware of is all these different translations are written on different grade levels. This first one I've never even heard of, the New International Reader's Edition, 3rd grade level.
3rd grade?
3rd grade.
Wow.
Grade 4 and 5 is a message. You've heard of that one, right?
No, I have not.
By Peterson. It's pretty good, but it's a paraphrase. Grade 5 would be God's Word translation. Grade 6 would be New Living Translation. Grade 7, New King James. Grade 7 and 8 would be the NIV. Grade 10, the ESV. And NASB be 11, and the Revised Standard be 12. So that's a lot of different grade levels.
When you talk about those grades, and I will go out on a limb on this one, I bet you if you walked into a 12th grade class today and you said, do you read the Bible daily? Do you read the Bible weekly? Have you ever read the Bible? What do you think the percentage would be?
Close to 5%.
Probably.
Guess, just
Probably.
a guess.
Probably.
You
Yeah.
get to college, it'd be 0.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
It's sad.
That's sad. Our pastor, Jeff Brown, was our pastor for years at Ball Ground First Baptist. His son Michael has started a group at Kennesaw College, which to me is just amazing that you could start a college, anything there that was to the Bible, and they're doing great Bible studies, and they're doing missionary work, and they're doing all kinds of cool stuff at Kennesaw, which
Wow.
really blew my mind because it's a bit liberal.
Well, they wouldn't years ago. I mean, God, this has been 25
And
years
they're
ago.
doing well with it. So
Yeah, I tried to get in with American Vision to talk about biblical worldview, and they said they turned us down.
yeah,
What was that word they used? They were trying to say something they used to discount you without discounting you, some kind of
Yeah,
a formal
yeah.
term. We want to keep this here, you know.
right.
that
And you're
type
like,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I
okay.
understand.
Well, I think colleges should adapt Bible study only because, well, 2 reasons. Number one, it's the truth. Number two, it's probably the greatest history book there is. It teaches you everything about history.
Yeah.
I mean, you can give his genealogy all the way back to the creation of man, for goodness sakes. And of course, Noah's flood.
And
I
then
mean,
there will be somebody who will argue that point.
of course.
You know, there'll be somebody who will argue.
Well,
argue
and I
that
told
point.
Ralph earlier, I said the beauty of what God has set up in this whole scheme of things is that you either believe it or you don't. I mean, the word is there. He gives you the freedom to believe it or not believe it. As simple as that. You can argue all this stuff all day long, but you either believe it or you don't.
But can you believe it without God first working on your heart to believe it?
Right.
No, no. And that's the thing. I don't know how to explain that to people because I've run into so many people lately, and particularly people who are dying of cancer, maybe a young person dying of cancer, and then they're like, they're angry with God. And I understand that. I understand that. Nobody understands it more than I do because, you know, my child had just beaten cancer and then she's dead. And you're thinking, okay, what did we do wrong, God? Why are you punishing us? What are we doing? That's not it at all. That's not it at all. But we have to get past that. And that's tough. And find something in the Bible that says you're going to bury your child before yourself because you didn't do anything wrong. It's just God's timing. That's tough. That's tough.
That's what they call a theodicy issue. That's theodicy. And if you read or if you watch almost any Christian movie, it has theodicy in it. Have you seen God's Not Dead?
Oh, yeah.
All right, you remember the professor? he had a theodicy issue. He was angry with God. And that was so great toward the end when that young man, you know, got him angry and says, "Why do you hate God?" He screamed and yelled at him and said, "How do you hate something that doesn't exist?"
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was powerful.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I love that movie.
yeah. Well, speaking of Christians, I've got to show something right now. This is something I'm so very, very proud of. My son-in-law and his brother were inducted into the Fishing Hall of Fame this weekend. These guys were tough as nails growing up. They did not have the perfect childhood. They did not have the perfect life. And they didn't always go to God for what they needed. Well, they do now. And if you are talking to these boys, they give God all the glory for their fishing championships, their fishing tournaments, the fact that they have taught mentally and physically challenged children around the world to fish. They said you can give this child a smile like nothing else when you put a fishing pole in their hand and you take them out on the water and they reel in a fish. And so that's what they do for fun, is they take special needs children fishing, and they were just honored this weekend, and we're going to share this with you. So you talk about fishers of men, these boys are fishing for Jesus. And here we go to the Fountain Brothers.
The American Catfishing Association is proud to present to you the legacy and accomplishments of two legends in the world of catfishing, Mr. Lonnie Fountain and Mr. Donnie Fountain. Today, the American Catfishing Association would like to take you on a journey that spans over 45 years, fueled by passion, resilience, and the pure joy of fishing. It's a story that begins in the most unexpected of places, the wrestling ring, Imagine being 8 years old, itching to cast your first line into the water, but lacking the means to do so. That was the humble beginning of the Fountain brothers. Lonnie and Donnie found themselves in a wrestling ring, not to wrestle, but to seize an opportunity. As the wrestlers took their break, they wrestled with fate, and the spectators, moved by their determination, contributed enough change for them to buy their very first fishing poles, a Zebco 202. Those fishing rods weren't just tools for leisure. They were instruments of survival. The brothers fished for food, scraping by with what they could catch. But adversity only strengthened the resolve of these two accomplished anglers. One day, emboldened by their passion, the brothers slipped into a nearby private pond, oblivious to the consequences. The property owner, none too happy with their presence, armed and furious, chased the brothers away, with shots echoing through the trees. In their haste, the brothers abandoned their rods, leaving behind their dreams. Fast forward 45 years, and fate intervened once more. Over the years, Lonnie and Donnie had established a vibrant roofing business. One day, the Fountain brothers were contacted by none other than the son of the once upset pond owner. He hired the Fountain brothers to roof his house. Little did Lonnie and Donnie know, the property owner's son held more than tools and equipment in his barn. The man approached Lonnie and Donnie holding their long-lost fishing poles. The son recounted his father's actions and asked for redemption and forgiveness, returning the once-cherished fishing rods the brothers had long ago left behind. The cherished rods, weathered by time, hold more than memories. They hold the brothers' purpose. It's why they have dedicated themselves to giving back. Over the years, knowing how meaningful fishing can be to children and adults alike, the Fountain brothers have handed out over 550 fishing rods to kids, igniting in them the same passion that ignited Lonnie and Donnie. Their journey didn't end with just spending time on the water fishing. It evolved into something greater. The Fountain brothers found themselves drawn to the sport and challenges of tournament fishing, mesmerized by the skill and determination of the competing and accomplished tournament anglers. Through observation and perseverance, Lonnie and Donnie learned to compete, soaking in every word, every tip, every technique the catfish community was willing to share. The determination to become champions has never been more evident. Time and time again, as Lonnie and Donnie Fountain have won countless tournament events that have featured some of the best tournament anglers in the nation. Throughout their journey and accomplishments, the Fountain brothers have remained humble and generous with both their time and knowledge. Their willingness to mentor others, new to fishing or a seasoned angler, has remained a constant, making Lonnie and Donnie Fountain two of the most respected ambassadors to the sport of catfishing. Accomplishments and the journey aside, their greatest pleasure lies in guiding and mentoring the next generation. When Lonnie and Donnie were one day introduced to a kids' event by fellow anglers who believed in them, they witnessed miracles unfold. From a speech-impaired teenager catching 26 channel cats, to a wheelchair-bound boy defying odds catching a trophy flathead, having a part in their triumphs echoed louder than any tournament victory. For over 18 years now, Lonnie and Donnie Fountain have stood witness to the purest form of joy etched on the faces of children as they reel in their first catch. It's a reminder that our true victories aren't measured by trophies, but by the smiles we inspire. So, as the Fountain brothers continue their journey, they remind us all to remember the essence of our passion. It's not just in the pursuit of our own accomplishments that matters as much as the connections we forge and the lives we touch. In the end, it's not about the catch, but the hearts we reel in along the way. Thank you, Lonnie Fountain. Thank you, Donnie Fountain, for being the great ambassadors to the sport of catfishing you are. With great honor, we welcome you both to the ACA Hall of Fame.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time. And delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
Georgia Medical Treatment Center now has 2 locations to bring you the high-quality holistic care you've come to know and expect. We treat neck, back, and joint pain with chiropractic care and injection-based treatment without the need for surgery or prescription painkillers. Our medical weight loss program can also provide relief while ridding your body of toxins, pounds, and inches while improving your overall health. Call today for a free consultation, 770-345-2000, or go online to georgiamtc.com.
You know, how you feel on the inside is just as important to me as how you feel on the outside.
Oh, Daddy. I'm grown up in every way, care and take care of you. You're my grown up and I know you're there. I'm your grown up and you know I care. 'Cause it's you and me and me and you. So when you are okay or not okay, I'll take care of you.
Misty mountain, rainbow sky, a faraway look in your eye. Tell me, have you had enough? Traffic jams and city stuff. Don't you think it's time to go where black bears climb and waters flow? Hummingbirds out on the deck, propped up, and what the heck?
Whether you're swimming in the sea, or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. To the old rugged cross I will ever be true. Its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glory forever I'll share. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. And I'll exchange it someday for a crown.
Traveling down a lonely highway, I knew not where the road would end. Not a penny in my pocket, all alone without a friend. In a country village, I saw a man there who was blind, and as I helped him cross the highway, oh Lord, I see his burdens are greater than mine. I can see the light of day, I need not feel my way. Yes, thy burdens are greater than mine. Then by chance I passed a graveyard. I saw a young man kneeling there. In his hands there were some roses. On his lips there was a prayer, and on a stone these words were written: your soul is God, your memory mine. And as I watched, I cried in sorrow, oh Lord, I see his burdens greater than mine. I can see the light of day, I need not feel my way. Yes, thy burdens are greater than mine.
Songs. Old Rugged Cross, my favorite. That was my birthday present from Bill. He didn't have to wrap it. He didn't have to put a bow on it. He didn't have to do anything but sing it. And then Our Burdens from Dwight Sanford. Our burdens are, it is so weird. We think we have all these amazing, horrible things happen to us, and somebody has something worse happen to them. We see it every single day.
Yeah.
You know, when I think of what a family in Canton is going through right now after battling cancer for years and years and years, when you're told, go home and get your child ready to meet Jesus, it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough. You know, I had no warning with Angela because it happened in the middle of the night and it was depression and whatever. But this one, when you know that your child's days are numbered, how in the world do you face that? And without God, you couldn't. You really couldn't.
And you know, music too is so therapeutic. Remember when David would play the harp for Saul to get the demons off of him? Well, that happens with us too.
Yeah.
I've gone to church like just dragging, just think, oh my gosh, and the music hits and it just it just hits.
Yeah, it does.
And
it does.
prepares you for the word.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Love Lifted Me is that song too. And I mean, it just, you get cold chills when you realize that, man, no matter what's going on and what's wrong, there's a way that you can be lifted. And I worry because I know so many people right now who absolutely do not believe. And I'm just like, I don't know how to make them believe, because I can remember the feeling, that gut-wrenching, your heart is a feeling of, yes, he is real. How do you deliver that to people who don't believe?
Well, it's like you said earlier, I was talking about you can believe it or not believe it, but without the wooing of the Holy Spirit, you don't have that opportunity. And of course, when that happens, you have the chance then, or the choice then.
Right,
so.
right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know how people get through death and sorrow without God and the love of Christ.
I have a friend who lost her only son. and he's been gone about not quite as long as Angela, but her only child, and she is severe depression right now. And so I told her, I said, we got to get you through this. We got to get you. You got to come through this. She is really, really struggling. And I struggled when I quit crying. I worried about myself, because then I'm like, okay, why am I not crying about my child's death anymore? Maybe God finally said, you've cried enough, you know? And
He did with David. He did with David when he was crying over his baby.
Yeah.
Get up. It's done.
Yeah, it's done. It's over, and there's nothing we can do about it. And it is crazy. And when I said, you know, if you know someone's dying, I knew for 11 months and 3 weeks that my husband was facing death. And we did, you know, we wanted to go to the Biltmore house. Well, we went, didn't get to go on the tour because he was too weak to walk. But then we went to the Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he walked all the way around it. So go figure, God. And I'm like, okay, I was thinking all the way up there to the Biltmore house. He's dying, and he wants to take me to the Biltmore house. This is crazy. But then we didn't. But then I said, well, we'll drive on over to Charlotte. And he walked around the Motor Speedway. And I thought, we could have walked around the Biltmore house. We could have done it all. But God puts you in a place you can get through it. It sucks, and it's not fun, and it is miserable. And the great thing about losing a child, if your child is saved, you don't have to worry about them anymore. There are no burdens with your child being saved and dying, because you don't have to worry about them anymore. You don't have to worry about their curfew. You don't have to worry about their driving. You don't have to worry about anything, because they're where they were meant to be.
I like it when Jesus said, I'm leaving you, but I'm going to leave a comforter, or send a comforter. Think about that word, comforter. He's not just the Holy Spirit, but he's a comforter. So you have that inside you to exercise with in those situations.
Yep. Well, last night, me and Jesus were having this little talk, and he didn't have much to say, but I had plenty to say. And I was like, I have all these questions, and I'm like,
we always do.
Yeah, you have all these questions, and I'm like, Lord, when I get there, will you answer these questions, or are you always going to leave me hanging? Because you have so many things that happen, and you're like, I lived through it, but why did I live through it? Why didn't you just let me die? You know, and you know the shape I was in when Angela died.
Yeah.
So my way of getting through that was to go talk to other women about abuse, because she had been abused, she had been battered, everything had been done to her bad, and she had fought it, and then couldn't fight it anymore. And alcohol came into play. And so everybody who knows me laughs, because I love the smell of Jack Daniels. Love it. But I don't drink at all. There's a reason I don't drink at all. If I had been depressed as I was when Angela died.
Pouring fuel on a fire. Right?
Yes, and I had been drinking. Can you imagine? No. I wouldn't be here today. So God, I don't think, you know, I mean, this is really going out on a limb. I don't think God puts more on us than we can handle. Sometimes I wish he didn't trust me so much, because I have handled
I've
some
heard a lot
stuff.
of people say that.
Yeah, and literally, there were times I was willing to go to jail. I was willing to beat somebody's brains in. If I could have caught the man who bought the gun that killed my child, if I could have gotten a hold of the man who took all of her money when she died, if I could have, there's no telling what I would have done. But God didn't put me in a place to run into the man, you know, and so I don't carry a baseball bat around anymore, because I figure I'm over it now. But truly, I wanted to know, God, why did he walk away with everything and I buried my child? It's hard. It is hard.
I think it's one of the reasons God put the book of Job in Scripture, is for us to learn.
Dawn keeps telling me that. She said, Mama, but look at what Job did. Look at what Job... I said, okay, all right, your sister was weak, Job wasn't. Look at, you know. Yeah, and she was weak.
What I'm saying, though, you could be the Job. Angela,
that's what Dawn says.
Maybe Angela wasn't the Job, you were the Job.
Yeah, that's what Dawn says all the time. She said, Mama, just your Job, that's it. It's going to all come back to you 10,000 times and it'll be fine.
But to see where you are today, you're a much stronger person. I know it still hurts, but
it hurts.
You're a stronger person, and you've learned some things from it.
And I reach out to other moms who are new at being a survivor. And they're like, why didn't God take me? Why didn't God take me? Well, there's a reason. There's a reason. I don't know what it is. He's going to tell me one day. Last night he wouldn't answer a question I asked. I was like,
Hey,
are you going to be quiet all
That
night?
happens sometimes.
When you get in front of God, what would be the first question you'd ask him?
Why did you allow me to live when my mother probably would have gone through the abortion if she hadn't been she was strong in her faith. Why did you allow me to live and then allow me to face everything I've faced? Because it's never been fun.
I'll give you one answer.
Why?
Because you're on TV helping people through their problems.
Well, and that's the reason I'm still on TV. Every time I get close to retirement, somebody will come up to me and say, you know, I wouldn't have gotten through my husband's death without you. You know, I buried my son last week, my only child, and if I hadn't seen you survive it, I wouldn't believe I could survive it.
See?
Every single time I get ready to, I'm going to say, I'm just going to retire now. No, you're not either. So the boys know I will retire here when I fall over. You know.
Well, oftentimes in life, when you can't help your own family members,
Right.
you're helping other people.
Yeah.
You just don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you want to help your family first,
Yeah.
but oftentimes you can't.
Yeah.
But you're able to help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you something too, that when you go through really bad times, and I went through one time, I didn't realize people were watching me.
Slap him. One time you went through something
Well,
bad.
this was one
time,
one
Lucy.
particular, should have said particular
No, but what
time.
he's saying is true. People are watching.
They watch you.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and they say, boy, how'd you do that? How'd you work through that?
Yeah.
I just wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that we witness to people without knowing it.
Right.
But the point through all that is to give God the credit for it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's what your
Absolutely.
goal is.
And that truly, you know how I feel about tattoos. I'm not a tattoo person.
Ain't for you.
Not for me.
You got one on your eye though.
Yeah, I do. I do.
You got tattooed pretty
I got
good.
black eyes. Yeah, but when you think about if you had a statement you wanted to make every single day to God, and you put it on your arm or you know whatever. I've seen a lot of people who put a religious statement, and you know that they have come through something really, 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 really tough, and or they'll have a cross, or they'll have Christ, or I've seen some beautiful tattoos, and even though I don't like tattoos, I've seen beautiful tattoos of Jesus, you know, and it's on the cross, and I'm like, wow, you know, that's artistic. And my Angela, you know, the battle we had with tattoos.
She liked them.
Oh my gosh. And we went to war from the time she had her first tiny one. I mean, her mama never let up. Even though she was grown, married, and got a tattoo, her mama blew a gasket on her. That's what mamas are designed to do. But it was always making a statement. It was making a statement. It was making a statement. And now, as I was burying her, I was mad at myself and what'd you say, don't sweat the small stuff? I was so mad at the time that I fussed at my child about her tattoos. I was so mad at myself. And I wanted to say, I'm so sorry that I didn't have time to sit down and talk to you about this, or I'm so sorry that this happened to you. Instead of me wasting time being mean to you about your stupid tattoos, and I was mean. I wish I could take things like that back, but I can't.
No.
I can't.
But you learn from it. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
One of my policeman friends has a Christian tattoo right here, and I said, well, if you're going to do that, why don't you just do Psalm 119?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It's 3 pages long.
It'd be a sleeve, wouldn't it? That's the longest chapter in the Bible.
That's funny. That's funny. Well, everybody watching today has faced something. Not everybody has faced trauma. Not everybody, you know, it could be just something that wouldn't be such a big deal, but to them, because nothing bad had ever happened to them, it was a big deal. And you know, we're not going to get through it without the Lord. There's no way. I don't know how people do it. I don't think they do it if they don't have God. I think that they kind of settle in, or I don't know. And then I think one day it will affect them. And they'll split, or they'll crack, or something will happen, because you have to deal with it. You know, you have to deal with it. And the day that I quit crying, it was crazy, because I mean, I was doing television when Angela died, and 10 days after her death, I called my director and I said, okay, I want to come back today. He said, Cherie, you can't possibly be ready. I said, you don't understand. If I don't come back today, I won't be here to come back. Do you understand that?
Therapy.
Therapy. And so I cried, and the minute the camera turned on, I could quit crying. And then the minute the camera went off, I cried again. And that went on for 2 years.
Wow.
And then one day, I didn't cry. And I felt so guilty. Because did that mean I was over losing my child? No.
Could be you got peace.
I got peace. I finally got peace. And it was like this 2-year plan of going to therapy, and y'all were my therapy, you know? Truly it was. And I should have gone to counseling, but I didn't. But my counseling ended up, I got involved with the First Baptist Church up in Murphy, North Carolina, and they asked me to speak to a group of women one day. And it was about becoming a young widow, because I was young when I became a widow. And I thought, well, they're going to want me to talk about my daughter's suicide. No, they want me to talk about becoming a young widow. And I said, okay, that's pretty cool. Because this subject was easier than this subject. And so I started there, and then after I did that, then I started talking about becoming a mother of a suicide victim, because dying from suicide, you are a victim of yourself. You're a victim of the devil going in and destroying you. And that's what suicide does, is they convince you that you're not worth anything. They convince you your life isn't any good, and you take your life. And that's so hard. So like suicide is that death that it's not the doctor comes in and says you've got 6 months to live, or the doctor comes in and says, I'm sorry, there's been a horrific car accident. No, and I truly believe that Satan is working harder now than he's ever worked.
Well,
He's working
I
harder now
do
than he's
too,
ever
definitely.
worked.
I've never seen, just looking at our country and our culture, you know Jonathan Cahn's book, Return of the Gods. I think he's got something there. We're sinking so fast. And we know, I wondered if maybe we've been drugged somehow because we've become so docile. I mean, nobody's really doing anything about all the, there was it last week, someone pulled down a satanic statue and they charged them with a hate crime.
Of course.
But they've been pulling down our statues about our history. No problem. Nobody goes to jail.
There's a bill being passed through Congress, or trying to be passed now, to take down the Statue of Liberty.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And
I'm
the
serious.
reason, I mean, I heard it, but I don't remember the reason.
I don't
What was
either.
the-
There's
what was
not
the
a
reason?
there's not a good one you can give me.
Yeah, I don't know if they even gave a reason, but when they said that was the next thing, and I'm like, are y'all crazy?
Well, see,
Y'all are really
here's
crazy.
here's my philosophy on statues. If you're going to take down one because it offends somebody, take them all down.
Yeah.
Take them all down.
Yeah.
Don't put up another one.
But isn't
But
that
you
a
can't
shame?
do that.
No. Look at the beauty that they've destroyed.
Yeah.
Because you think about the Abraham Lincoln Memorial, you think about all these beautiful things that an artisan spent years doing this, and it was part of America.
But it
and
goes-
we've allowed it to be destroyed.
It also goes down to what happened 10, 15 years ago around our areas where the 10 Commandments were taken off
yeah.
of walls.
Yeah.
It's the same
Yeah.
thing because
Yeah.
it offended somebody.
Yeah.
You hear the Mona Lisa, what happened?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they
Threw soup
threw
on
stuff
it.
on it. Yeah.
Climate change
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what does that
Crazy.
accomplish? And I hope that thing had a glass on it.
I don't know.
But the spiral downward you're referring to
Yeah.
here, I get excited about it for one reason. It just lets me know that we're that much closer to the Lord coming back. Because these things have got to happen.
That was what I wanted to ask you. My Bible lady friend, Vicki, says she's waiting on the rapture. She's knowing it's going to come, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, J.S. and I would have been married 45 years. 45 years ago, his granny was sitting on the porch with us and said, the Lord's coming back any day.
My
Okay,
mother
it's
was the
been
same way.
45 years. Okay, when is he coming back?
We don't know. But you got to have the hope that he is coming back.
I
And you
think
gotta
he'll
hold
come
to that
back. I
hope.
think he'll be smacking down some people.
No man knows. And
Yeah.
if they do, if they tell you, you need to run.
Well, I'll
from
tell
them.
you this, though. I don't think, this is just me, and I've been preaching this, that I think that we're so focused on the rapture, the Christians are, that they're not doing anything because this is exciting.
Sit
This
and
is what's
waiting.
supposed to happen. But I think it's going to be the end of America, and I don't think Jesus is coming back. Not for that. I think we're just going to die as a culture and then go from there. But he will come back, just don't know when.
Don't know when. Anybody that tells you they know when,
Yeah.
you need to run from them.
Every generation since Jesus has believed it was their
Yeah.
generation. Even Paul and
Even
Peter.
Paul and Peter, yeah, the disciples thought it was time to go. He's
Yeah,
coming right
yeah.
back. So,
Well,
but we do believe he's coming back.
yeah.
And if you lose hope of that, you're lost. That's part of the hope that we have and the peace that we have.
You know, that's one of the things about what happened with COVID. We cleaned out a house of a young man who was 3 months from retiring, and he went in the hospital with COVID and he never came home. And I don't know what his belief was. I have no idea. I never met him. But there were so many people who were taken away so quickly by COVID that they didn't have time to get their life in order. They didn't have time to even wash their dishes before they died from COVID. They didn't have time to clean up their house before they died of COVID. They didn't have time for anything. And if they didn't know Jesus, that just means that Satan got a bigger group. And that scares me, because if it's sudden, this morning on the way to work, I got tickled. Dwight Sanford, you've taught me a couple of things, but he says, don't speed, go the speed limit, and watch everybody else, because when you get to the red light, you can look over and laugh at them, and that's the truth. And so coming up here this morning, I get on at Nelson, and I see a police officer up here writing somebody a ticket. So I am going the speed limit, and I get over, because it's the move over law. I get over in that lane, I'm going the speed limit, and all these cars are coming around me, and I'm going, y'all are idiots. Y'all are just idiots. And then I'm thinking, you're not only going to have a ticket, you'll probably get run over by that chicken truck that's going right there. And I'm just thinking, we don't know the time or the hour. We don't know. From the time we get on the road every morning, some nut could end our life.
Yep.
And if we don't know where we're going, I can tell you where you will go.
It's a hopeless way to
It's
live.
scary. It's scary.
The key is to get one of these Bibles and start reading, right?
That's right. That's right.
One day we ought to get together and do some eschatology. We could have some fun with that.
She does that to her face all the time.
Listen.
Oh, that's a different kind. Never mind.
Yeah. Well, you know, maybe let's challenge everybody today. Send me a message and tell me your favorite Bible verse, because my favorite Bible verse is Jeremiah 29:11. Because he does know the plans he has for us. I don't always like the plans that he's throwing at me, but I accept that he does know the plans and he has plans for me.
Get them to send you also a message as their favorite translation.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Because mine, I just go to the King James. You know, I do have, the reason I ask you, did you have an old family Bible? I have an old 1800s Bible. And you know what I love about it? It's a big, huge one, and it has beautiful pictures in it. And it has pictures of Jesus and Lamb and of the tomb and all these things. If we don't believe in that, then I'd be so scared, because I've never doubted, not one of those pictures, that that's how it was, that tomb was really there, that Martha and Mary really went there. I've never doubted any of that. I've never doubted any of that. But there's a society now that doubts all of that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
They discount
doubt all of it, yeah.
Not only
Well, I was
doubt it,
telling
they
Bill
discount
that Bible you're talking about, that's the kind you take to jury duty.
Yeah.
That way you won't get on.
Yeah. I need to remember that. I kind of enjoyed jury duty. You know what? It's time for us to get out of here once again. It's flown by. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for singing for me for my birthday.
You're welcome.
And I'll give you a bow to put on your head next time you come so you can wrap yourself up.
I need something on top of my head.
I want to remind all of y'all, on February the 14th, Linda Autry's going to be back here with her daughter and her husband who are going to be singing. I would like to tell you, if you want to come and be here live that day, last year we had a group from Assisted Living, and they came. If you want to be part of that day, as always, I'll do refreshments and we'll have fun, and you'll get to hear some really good music. And if you love Linda Autry, you will want to be here. So message me on Facebook or call me at 404-375-0590, and we will do this. I'll see you again soon. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Bye, y'all.